Hey Scrappy friends, this is Renee with Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts. Do your ribbon collections look like this? Mine used to, and then I organized them. I made a post a few months ago with pictures of how to organize, but I have a new technique to add thanks to fellow card maker Brenda Quintana, and it's too much to put in a plain post, so I'm going to show you a video, and then I'm also going to show you how to organize your twine. It's spring, and spring we tend to think of spring cleaning, and why not spring clean our craft supplies? I'm a firm believer that the more organized they are, the more likely you are to use them because you know what you have and you know where things are and you don't have to go digging. So let's get started. I'm going to set aside all of this mess of ribbon, and then what we're going to need is a paper trimmer, a pencil. I like to use a ruler to measure my ribbon width, but if you are okay with the paper trimmer, you could do that. I'm going to use these two punches from the hole punch assortment. There is a third one that looks like a tag, but we won't use that one for today. And then I'm going to use binder clips and straight pins. And then you can either use the Stampin' Seal Plus tape, or I used the Tombow glue. So Brenda does these posts on casing. I think she calls them Casing Tuesday. And casing simply means copy and share everything, or copy and selectively edit. Well, I edited. I'm adding my take on the ribbon organizer, and I hope that you enjoy it. So let's get started. My first one, I already went ahead and cut the pieces. This one is going to go on here. This is a thick cardstock, and I'm just going to feed this through. Basically, I'm going to just show you how this works. I'm going to feed this through. I've already scored it, cut it, all of that, and then I'm going to pull this around. And then I don't know if you know this, but our mono glue, the multi-mono glue Tombow, if you put it on and let it dry, it becomes repositionable. And since I'm all about using our scraps, I thought, why not make it repositionable? And then when you finish this spool of ribbon, you can just pop it open and transfer it to your next spool. So here, see how easy that works? Oh, it's a game changer. Okay. Then all I did was I marked the center, and I used this punch, which I'll show you, but this one is a wider one. So let me show you my other three methods of organizing your ribbon first. So I'm going to start with this fresh freesia seam binder tape, and a very basic, inexpensive, actually free way to do this is to put your finger underneath the ribbon and pull the tail through, and then it's right there and it's ready to go. You know right where your tail is, you're good to go. Then if you don't want to wrinkle your ribbon, which the seam binding is already wrinkled, you can use a binder clip. They come in various sizes, and you just put a piece on the side and then put your binder clip on. Then I keep mine on a dowel rod, and the dowel rod pulls it down, so you always know where the start of your tail is. But because they're next to each other, I will close the one side so that they lay flat. The problem with that is you have to have room to be able to move it. If you have them side by side flush with no room, you can't release this clip. So you do have to have some room to be able to open that up. If room is an issue for you, I have another solution. So the next solution is to take a stainless steel straight pin, and you literally go to the end of the ribbon, put it in, and push it back. And then it holds it, and it's kind of sticking out. And because it's sticking out, you'll know where the end of your ribbon is. So that's two very inexpensive ways using accessories, or the absolutely free way of just using your finger to secure your ribbon. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you the dimensions and cuts for these, and then I'll walk you through the other the other holders. So I showed you this one already, and that's a separate measurement. That's one that I measured myself. But these come from Brenda. And the first one is if your ribbon holder is a 1/2 inch long, and like I said, if you're comfortable just putting it on here and eyeing it, you can. I prefer to use the ruler. It's easier on my eyes. So this one is a 1/2 inch. So if you have a 1/2 inch spool, you're going to cut your 1/2 inch. You're going to cut a 1/2 inch strip. It's going to be 1/2 inch by 5 1/8. Okay, so you just cut that, and I used all scraps. You're going to see my take on this here in just a minute. So I've cut it at 5 1/8, and then I'm going to score it at 1 3/8. Bring that piece down, and then I'm going to turn it. You can score 1 3/8 on either way, and then I'm going to score at 1 7/8, 3 1/4. And 3 3/4. I'm giving you these measurements as I go, but if you would like a PDF with all of the written measurements and directions, go to my Facebook page at Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts and sign up for my newsletter, and I will email all of the step-by-step with the measurements. Okay, so I just did that one if you're 1/2 inch. If you are 5/8 inch, which would be these bigger, the in color ribbons and the basic beige, these are 5/8 inch. So if it's 5/8 inch, you're going to cut a 5 1/4 inch long strip. Go ahead and cut that. And then they all start, that first score line is, they're all 1 3/8. So I'll do my 1 3/8, and then I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to score this one at 2, 3 1/4, and then 3 7/8. So this one is the one if your ribbon is 5/8 inch wide. Then we have even thicker ones that are 3/4 inch wide, which would be more like these. This one's retired, but just to give you the idea of a wider ribbon. So on this one, if your spool holder is 3/4 inch wide, your piece of cardstock is going to be 5 5/8 inches long. All three of these are a 1/2 inch wide. So then again, all three have the 1 3/8 inch score line. And then this one will be a 2 1/8, 3 1/2, and 4 1/4. Okay, those are very simple. 3 different pieces for the 3 different widths of ribbon. See, there's just a slight variation. It's like 1/8 of an inch with each one. Okay, then once you're done with that, you're going to take the very center of one of these, and if you're doing the dot, you could just simply put a dot in the center, right? Except I'm going to do the dash. Well, the dash might not work on that one. The dash is going to be, the dash might be too big for this one. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and do the dash on this one. And I've put my mark there so that I know where the center of my paper is. And because the dash is going over each of the score lines, I literally am just going to line this up and punch. If you're not okay with that, you can lay this down on the 1/2 inch mark. Well, it's a 1/4 inch on each side to put it in the center, right? And then get a mechanical pencil or a colored pencil. I've extended my lead, and then I'm just going to take and I'm going to draw a line from edge to edge on this piece. And then I will have a visible area to score or to punch my ribbon piece. Then that's going to wrap around my ribbon. Let's see here, which one is this? I think it's this one. Well, that'll work to show you the idea. So we'll take this, we're going to feed the ribbon through, And again, you can use the mono adhesive, or you can use the Stampin' Seal Plus. And then you feed it through the hole. And I like to adhere it to where this flap is pointing back. And then there you have it. You've got, kind of hard to do when you're holding it, but it'll slide back and forth. And I'll show you here in a minute with my other ones. So I have this yellow one already done. I punched my hole and I put mono adhesive on there, let it dry a little bit. And then I'm just going to take this and feed it through. I'll feed my ribbon through and see my take on it. Can you figure it out? I color coordinated using my scraps. Of course, you know I'm all about using up my scraps. So I color coordinated, which also makes it easier to see at a glance without actually having to look at each ribbon to see what the primary color is. So see there, then I can just go like this and pull it out, and then like this to close it back up. So there's that one. Then I'm going to do my Night of Navy. Let's see here. Maybe. I thought I had my Night of Navy. Oh, here, it's right here. It's right in front of me. Okay, so I've already measured it. I've already put my mono glue on so that it would dry ahead of time so you don't have to sit and wait on me. And then I'm going to put it on the 1/4 inch mark on each side. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark from score line to score line. Can you see that? It's kind of dark on there, but there's a score line right there. And then that's going to help me know where to punch. I'll line this up. See there? And then I'll feed this through. I might have to do a second punch. Let's see. Yeah, I think I need to put a little bit more on each side for the wider ribbon. Just punch out a little more on each side. That side and that side. There we go. I want my ribbon to be able to go through smoothly without snagging on the cardstock. So there we go. We feed that through. And then I've got my adhesive on here already. And then I'm just going to set it on here. And then there you go. And the fun thing about using the mono and letting it dry before you put it on is I can now peel this off and transfer it to the next spool when I run out. Isn't that fun? And then to pull it out, see there? There's that one. And then I have this basic beige. The basic beige, I'm going to do the same thing. I've already scored it, and then I have my mono on there already dry. And I'm going to mark from score line to score line. And then I'm going to punch it score line to score line too. All right, see there my punch? Feed it through. And after the video, I will post a picture of my before and afters, what my ribbon looked like before and what it looked like after. So see there? It's just an easier way to organize your ribbon. And I love this idea. Oop, wrong way. See, put those on. Get my big gold one on. Like I said, if you want the, oop, that one's upside down too. If you want the printed instructions, subscribe to my email and I will send you all 4 sizes, my special size, and then the 3 that are already out on the internet. I'll do all of that. And then my last bit of organizing for your ribbon is your baker's twine. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I just throw it back in the basket and it becomes a mess. So what you can do is wrap some around, leave yourself a good sized tail, pull it under with your fingers and make a loop. And then you know right where your twine starts and stops. And to pull it out, you just pull and then you're good to go. Another thing that you can do is take your scissors and just put a cut down into your tube and then wrap around. The problem with that is, like, see, if I go all the way to the end, then I don't have enough room. So I have to make sure that I leave myself room, and then I just pop it in there and it's good to go. So if you like these tips, like I said, sign up for my email and I will send you a PDF with all of the exact measurements for all 4 sizes. And then you could give my video a thumbs up and share it. And then go to my Facebook page, Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts, for more tips, tricks, and card ideas. So I hope you enjoyed my take on this with the coordinating cardstock using scraps. Of course, Scrappy Ray has to use up all those scraps. So anyway, have a good evening.